Okay, let me turn up the volume. Basically, this is a Mackie board running through a Crest Audio amp into EV speakers. Let me turn it down. Let's turn this on first. Everything lights up. You can see it going through. It checks the tuning of the voices. We double click the page 2, and when this is hooked up into my MIDI rig, I have to change the status of A, B, C, and then you press and hold D, and that's how you choose your MIDI channel. I use channel 3, so you hit that, you go 1 through 8, and then you release it. So holding D in page 2 and choosing 1 through 8 is how you choose your MIDI channel on this thing. Then you double click page 2 and it goes, whoops, rather single click it, my mistake, to release it. Goes back to normal operation. Again, if you need to tune the oscillators, which you don't very often, it's pretty stable. Auto tune is here, and if you watch, it'll cycle through, and once you do it, it doesn't stay on any one voice too long because they're all calibrated and they're all right. If you have a bad voice, you'll see it hangs on one as it goes through auto tune. So at any rate, that part's clean. It's a mix of factory programs and some that I did. Let me get my list so I can see. This first one I think is pretty straight as far as what came out of the box. I might have tweaked some of these a little bit. You'll see on the list, I'll send you a list of what's in it. Kind of you'll know what I did and what I didn't. But real classic Oberheim. Oops. There we go. Oh wait, reverb and delay are still on. Let me kill that. Oh, before I do, here, this is what I do generally. Just a little bit of reverb and a light bounce, just something to make it like it's in a room. But anyways, let's kill that. Whoops. Helps if I kill it on the right channel. I have a bad chord. Hang on, let me fix that. Let's see if we can just tweak it around a little bit for now. Not the synthesizer. Okay. Let's do a couple of things. Let's start with a real basic sound and let's just go up the keyboard. Listen for two things, and I'll do this a couple different ways. Listen to, as you cycle through it, you're hearing one voice then the next voice, so you know that the voices are calibrated and they're close. Otherwise, one would be a lot brighter or duller or more out of tune. Now the only thing that is different from voice to voice is that's your basic, that's the jump program. And there's a little bit of portamento to that, which means it does two things. Portamento, of course, as you know, glides from note to note. It also, there's a second envelope on page 2 that you can use to modulate pitch. So as you raise the portamento, it raises to the point that there's none at all. Or a lot. Now let's take and go back to the first sound that I showed you, the Oberheim horn sound. Good sound. I can show you the envelopes. First of all, let's do this. Let's 0 attack, 0 release, full sustain, and 0 decay. That way it's like an organ, on or off for the loudness. But the envelope is what you're hearing for the filter. So let's drop the frequency. Add a little resonance. Here's the attack. Real slow. They're pretty tight, actually, also. Let's do this. We're in 4-pole mode. Let's go to 2-pole where we can get some resonance going. Hear that little snap? That's the filter. That's the filter being modulated with zero attack and decay. And you had asked me about the sequence, the arpeggiator. That's a great setting for that. Let's turn that on. I gotta remember how to. Oh. Alright, let me remember how to make this sequencer do more than it's doing. Because I really don't remember how to do all the stuff on it. It's in the book. Alright, I'm going to have to let you experiment with that more than me because it's just not my deal, but as far as the synthesizer, obviously you've heard the modulation amount, resonance, and the fact that it will resonate for sure, frequency, and of course the envelopes to attack, function perfect, sustain, which controls cutoff, and the release. I gotta give it some sustain for that. Whoops. I had to turn up the release for the loudness, otherwise it wouldn't sustain because the loudness wasn't sustaining. I guess I should real quick buzz through. Oh, you know what else I should do? Is let's do this. That's a 2-pole. Here's 4-pole. A lot warmer. Really a crappy sound, isn't it though? Detune. And when it's right, it goes off. By the way, it was not running earlier, so it's cold. It's been on now, what, 5 minutes or so? All 8 voices nicely in tune. Unison. Kind of bold. On really slow portamento settings, you will hear the voices do not stay perfectly in tune. Each voice has its own portamento that runs off of this knob. So somewhat like what you can do with your Prophet, if you have it really wide open, you'll hear it go out of tune. So at any rate, you can hear it go out of tune a little bit. Well, let's see, what else should we do? Let's go back out of unison. Let's turn off oscillator 1. Now you're hearing oscillator 2. Sawtooth, there's pulse wave. That's that's when it's so narrow you can't hear it. And then of course you can modulate the pulse width over here. This is a modulation section. Which is one of the tricks for the Oberheim strings, where they take and you can actually take this and put the pulse width out of phase on one oscillator versus the other, and it gives you a really big, nice, fat, juicy sound. I'm not going to try and do everything this thing does. I've showed you that the envelopes work, that the filter sounds good. You've heard envelope 2, oscillator 2. Here's one. Sawtooth, square. And then if you have them both together, or rather both off, excuse me, that's a triangle wave. If you have them both on, then you get both the square and the sawtooth together. Another thing that people like about Oberheims is that it hard syncs real nice. Let's see, A, C, D, and 2 I think is Tom Sawyer. There's another version of it I did on CD4. I think mine is more accurate, but that's just me. A couple other sounds as far as sync. Let's see, we got the Let's Go sound. Not that you'll use these, but you might use them as a jumping off spot. Here's the mod and the pitch bend. The speed of it is over here. Let's see here. With the Oberheim, I think the Prophet does the same thing. Where the setting where the knob is not necessarily what you hear when you call up a sound. As soon as you move it, it will move in relation to where it was programmed. After you go all the way up and all the way down, then it will reset to actually what the knob position shows you. Let's see. Back to oscillator sync sounds. Another one that was real popular, 80s sound, which I left in, was 1984 by from the Van Halen album. I don't know if you can hear the speakers rumbling, but that's something we'll need to. There we go. Let's see. Give you more. A, D, and 3. The old ELP Lucky Man sound. The synthesizer is really rich. I mean, it's running totally dry and it sounds really pretty nice. God, I don't know what else to show you. It really pretty much does all the... Oh, you know what? Let's see. Here's one of the Oberheim. I didn't use it for strings that much, even though that's the big deal. I have a lot of sampled strings and I like them better, so I use sampled strings when I want strings. Let's see. Anyways, you get the idea, and there's weird crap in here. There's really so much programmed into it. Look, here's one of the bass sounds. Let's see. Let me see if I can find one that I liked more than most. Let's try this. Man, I just don't think the camera's getting it. Here's one that was kind of like a mini mode type bass that I used to use when I was back in the day playing in rock bands. I duplicated it here. Anyways, what else can I show you? If you have any questions, give me a call. Bottom line, this is the Oberheim.